Hi, I'm Selena, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I am going to be including a spoiler and a non-spoiler section for this review, and the first half of this review is going to be entirely non-spoiler, just general thoughts about this book and this story so that you can figure out whether this is the book for you. For those of you who have already read it and want to hear my more spoilery thoughts, you can skip to the end of the video where I talk about those thoughts. Timestamps in the description for those who would like to see the various parts of my non-spoiler review or just skip to the spoilers. So Skyward is the beginning of a YA science fiction series written by Brandon Sanderson. We follow a girl named Spensa who lives on this planet called Detritus, which is constantly attacked by their enemies from space. And due to this, they've established a military state. And so your ranking in the society is almost entirely based on your productivity and what you can contribute to the society. And although everyone is important, the pilots are highly revered. Our girl Spensa wants more than anything to be a pilot, just like her father was. But when Spensa was a child, her father's piloting career ended when he turned tail and ran from a battle, or flew away from a battle, and was labeled a coward, and that has affected Spensa's family ever since. Spensa has grown up with this shadow over her family and over her childhood, and she still wants to be a pilot, but it doesn't come as easily now because she's not respected by society anymore. And so Skyward is her story about how she fights to get into flying school, kicking and screaming, and what she makes of herself there. Before we start, I just want to let you guys know that I gave this book 5 stars, so I don't have much negative to say about it. This is going to be mainly a gushing review, but I do have some criticisms, and let's get into my non-spoiler review. So the way that I do my non-spoiler reviews is I talk about the genre and structure of the book, the plot, the characters, and then theme and anything else that I have missed. Getting into genre and structure, this is a YA science fiction, which I've already said. It is also on the younger side of YA, I would say. It's not very dark or gritty. And Sanderson's easy writing style really lends itself to the YA genre really well. You could say it's a little sparse on details, but I didn't really mind that. I got the important details out of the book, I think. Another structure thing really quickly, most of this book is in first person from Spin's point of view, or Spensa's point of view. But we do get interludes, a couple of interludes from third person, but I honestly, as I was reading it, didn't even notice the change. It just felt so natural because of Sanderson's writing and how naturally the interludes fit into the book. And so it didn't bother me, and I generally hate when books try and change perspective and go back and forth, but this one it was done really well, so I didn't notice it. Moving on to the plot. This was a fast-paced, quick, fun, amazing plot. I loved it. Not only was this plot entertaining though, I think it also pushed Spensa in all the right ways. It really made Spensa react and change and develop throughout this novel, which I think is a sign of a good plot, especially in YA where we're so close to the character. The only flaws about the plot I would say is at times it's a little bit convenient, but I think these conveniences are more present here because it's the first book in a series, and so not everything is explained, which is my second criticism about the plot. There were a couple things in the end, especially mainly one thing in the end, where it wasn't really explained how this thing came about, and I'm still not sure how this thing came about. Maybe I just missed it during my reading, but I really don't think so. He has us infer a little bit too much at times, and I know that it's only the first book in the series, so there's gonna be questions. It's just that I wish I'd gotten more answers that wrapped up this book's plot in a way. So next, let's talk about characters. And of course, the first character we need to talk about is Spensa, or Spin. I love Spensa so much, like to the point where I know she's flawed. I know she has moments where you're like, really, Spensa? But I just don't understand at all why people don't like her, because I love her, and I thought she was a great protagonist. The main criticisms I've seen for Spensa is that she's a bit reckless, she's a bit mouthy, and I personally think that she wasn't any worse than any other YA protagonist that I've seen, and better than many of them. Because Spensa, I understood why she is the way she is. She's a person of her circumstances, and her circumstances has created this attitude in her and this way of reacting to things. And I think that Spensa also, something that's really great about her is that all of her actions made sense. I've read some books recently where characters' actions, I could not justify them. I was like, why are you doing this? And Spensa is not that. Spensa, I always know why Spensa is doing something when she is doing something. I can understand her. Her goals and her attitude is so well written that you can kind of see where she's coming from and what she's going to do. She was also really relatable to me in a weird way. We don't react outwardly in the same way, but there's things that she would reason through in her head that was really similar to me, or like there were emotions she would have that I was like, yeah, I felt that. I just really connected with her on a personal level because I loved her, but also I had that like personal connection to her where I completely understood exactly where she was coming from, even though we haven't like had the same life or anything, and even we're not even anywhere near the same people. It's just that I could get her. I could really get in her head and be like, yes, Spensa, I understand you. I know why you're acting like this. I know why you think that this is a good idea or a bad idea or whatever it is. But Skyward also has some of the best Sanderson side characters I've ever read, because I think in the beginning of his career especially, Sanderson struggled with side characters and characters in general more than he did with most things. But Skyward just showed me how far he's come and how vivid this crew was and how vivid all the side characters were, how much I understood all of them, how developed they all felt was really interesting to see. Furthermore, the bonds that people had with each other, the friendships people had with each other were really well explored in a way that didn't take over the plot, it didn't slow down the plot, it just really felt like a great balance between character time and plot time. Also, there is no romance in this book. There's not like a romantic subplot at all. So if you are gonna miss that, then that's not there. I'm sorry. But to me, it seemed like there was maybe a hint of one that could come in future books, and I thought it was extremely well laid, if that is indeed the case, and I'm very invested. And that doesn't happen often. So what I'm saying is I think that Brandon Sanderson has set up a really good cast of characters with a lot of different relationships with each other that all make sense to me, and I'm rooting for absolutely all of them. And I love absolutely all of them. For themes, the big ones that I saw were kind of like a coming-of-age theme in YA. Another theme that's in Skyward throughout is what is bravery and what is cowardice, and I think that that's a really cool exploration that Sanderson has in this book, and I really enjoyed that. So that was my spoiler-free review of Skyward. Now, I'm gonna get into spoilers, so if you want to stick around and listen to my spoiler thoughts, I'll see you in a minute. And if you want to click off, go read the book, go pick it up. I highly recommend it, and thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna move on now. I'll see you in my next video. Bye. And for those of you who stayed, let's get into these spoilers. Oh my goodness. Okay. I love Spensa. I love Mbot. I love the whole crew. I love FM. I love Kimmelin. Even though Kimmelin's like, I live in the South, so like Kimmelin was kind of like, okay. I'm not saying she's like not right, but I was just kind of like, okay, this is a thing. Anyways, moving on. I loved this book. I loved this book. I loved Spensa. I loved the plot. I loved everything. I loved Mbot. I couldn't talk about Mbot in the first part of the spoiler-free section because I feel like it's something that a lot of people know about Skyward, but if you don't know it, then like it's kind of a spoiler, or it could be considered a spoiler for some. But yeah, I loved Mbot. I loved his like funny logic. Oh my goodness. Loved it. Oh, I was skeptical about Jorgen at first. I was like, he's kind of a jerk, right? Like, he's kind of a jerk face. Because he is jerk face. He's a jerk face. I know why people are calling him jerk face, because he's pretentious and he's kind of a jerk face. But then you see more of him and how he interacts with Spin, and it just is so nice, and I just really got invested in their friendship, and I'm kind of seeing like Sanderson possibly laying out that a romance could develop between them, and I am here for it. I'm so invested. The unanswered questions bug me a little bit because there were so many things that I was like, this doesn't make sense. This seems like it'll be a thing. Like, and with Mbot and like whose ship he is and how he got there, like I'm fine with all that not being answered because we have like 3 more books. But I just was like, how did Cobb know about Mbot? Like, I think Sanderson kind of implied that it was because of the radio, but we were told a reason why people weren't hearing their conversation over the radio. So I was like, which is it? What went on? My other theory was that like maybe Jorgen told him and he was like, okay, and didn't like take it. And I wish I'd known how that happened. I'm sure that he'll address it in Starsight, but I just feel like it should have been addressed in Skyward. So I also loved the twist that they're living in like a prison, kind of like they're being guarded, like the Krell are like just like prison guards. I love that because I love it when sci-fi take the world you're living in, whether it's Earth or another world, and have it from the perspective of a character who sees a very limited version of it. And then the world opens up and you realize you're like really small compared to the rest of the galaxy, or you're like insignificant, or like you are on a prison or something of that sort. That is my favorite thing to see in sci-fi. It's kind of like the sci-fi of my dreams when that happens. Hitchhiker's Guide has a similar thing, not similar to Skyward, but like it has that sort of feeling to it, like right off the bat, chapter 1. I love that like Spensa and everyone on the planet has got it all wrong. Skyward really meant a lot to me, and I hope that you pick it up if you have not. And if you have read it, please talk to me in the comments. If you're gonna talk in spoilers, do a spoilers and then like do a space so that you don't spoil everyone else in the comments. But please talk to me about this book. I love this book. You will probably hear me rant many more times in the future. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.